Hi, my name is Ashish, and in this video we will see how to automate infrastructure deployments in the cloud with Ansible and Azure pipelines. Let me just quickly log on to my Devops portal and take it from there. I'm logged on to my Devops portal and I'm going to go to my project under my Azure Devops, which is Ansible Lab. I've created this project. I have my repositories, pipelines, boards and everything else inside this project. So we know that Ansible can be used to implement infrastructure as code, and in here we will be using the automate infrastructure deployment in cloud with Ansible and Azure pipelines. So let me first of all create an Azure service principal with Azure CLI in the Azure portal. So I am going to go to the portal.azure.com. Coming in, there is my Azure portal, and I am gonna see what all resource groups I have. Okay, I'm gonna open up the Cloud Shell here. I will enable the Cloud Shell onto this. Let me do it. All right. It is initializing the Cloud Shell, and now I'm going to select, okay, it's already bash. It is connecting to the terminal. It usually takes a couple of minutes because you have to create the resource group, then the storage account, and the file share to store all of these commands that we run. Okay, now I'm going to run this azad. This is the, I'm using the create SPN create command for our minds dash name service principal name is this Ansible SPN sir Ansible SPN. Okay, so whenever you will create an SPN from the portal as well, you have to create the valid URI, which is required format for the service principal name. Then you have to do the role assignment and all this stuff. You will get these values. Let me make a note of it. This is the app ID. I'm going to copy and paste it. I have copied and pasted the content on the notepad. So it is a JSON output, as you can see in this. So now we will enter the command to get Azure subscription ID and copy the same to the notepad. So I'm going to select AZ account show. Either I can go to my subscription or get the subscription ID. This is the home tenant ID. This is the ID here. My name is this. Tenant ID is this. So I can copy this as well to the notepad here, and I can minimize it. I come back on my screen. Now we will configure the Ansible in a Linux machine. So to create and provision the resources in Azure with Ansible, we need to have a Linux VM with an Ansible already configured. So we'll create a Linux VM, then we'll deploy the Ansible package onto it. Or you can use the pre-configured scripts to do it. So let me just pause the video and come back to deploy an Ubuntu 18.04 VM with Ansible. You can see that I am deploying it. So I'm going to do this in this resource group. It would be in Central India. Location would be picked up by resource group location. My VM name would be test Ansible VM. DS1 V2, or you can change the site later as well. You can give the username and password. Alright, now you click on I agree and you click on purchase. So we'll have to wait for the deployment to be successful. After this is done, we'll navigate to the resource group and select the VM, and then we'll try to connect to it. So let me just pause the video and come back. Okay, finally the VM has been provisioned. I'm going to go to my resource here, and this is my VM. Here it is. virtual machine. And if I click on connect here, it says SSH RDP. I'm going to go with the SSH option, and it says SSH open the client using PuTTY and other clients. Private key is this, and run this command. Alright, so I am connected to my test Azure Ansible VM, installing PuTTY and then entering the IP address. Then I entered my username and password. VM up and running, and I'm going to make few directories in here to store all of my data. I'm going to make using the make dir command. Make space Azure. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna open it up. .azure I'm making this file as well, credentials. So I'm opening up this file now. I'll insert the clients into the credential files, and I'll make sure that I have this the subscription ID, the client ID, the secret, and the tenant ID of the SPN that we created at the beginning. I made the changes. So if I show you the file again, you would see the content here, which I copy pasted it from my notepad, and to get out of it, I'll press Ctrl X and I'm back here. So one thing is to note here is that Ansible is an agentless architecture based automation tool. Only it needs SSH authentication using Ansible control machine, the private public key pair. Now what we'll do is we'll create a pair of private and public keys. We'll run the command to generate a private and public key pair for SSH and to install the public key in the local machine. All right, and you see that what I've done is I have created this passphrase. I wanted to generate the private and public key pair using the SSH keygen TRSA, and I created the passphrase here. I've not used any password to protect it. You see that I'm not used any password here. It is I'm going with the blank. Then I will run the chmod command to change the permissions like this. SSH, and I'll open up this file now. Touch SSH authorized underscore keys. Okay, let me search for it. All right, I gave the permission to authorize the keys. Okay, now you see that after running the chmod command and the authorized keys, I have connected the ID onto this is my username with which I am logged in. This is the host IP, local IP, and the source of keys to be installed on this directory. It has been done. Now it is attempting to log in with the new keys to filter out that are already installed. Yes, so I am connected with the keys. Permission, I think it was blank. Let me check it again. All right, this finally was done. I have created this as well with the private key. So now this SSH private key was created on the SSH endpoint in the Azure DevOps service. So now I will create an SSH service connection in Azure DevOps. I'll go to my project and look for the project settings. Okay, this is the Ansible Lab project, and if you see, this is my project settings. I'll go to my service connection. Create service connection. I'll use SSH. Okay, click on next. I'll have the name of my VM This is my name of the VM. '22. Private key. Private key is what I generated. This one. Oh, this is my private key. I'm going to paste it in the connection. Username. I can add the password as well. Let it be optional. Service connection name. Grant access. This is my service connection. I click on save. I have my new service connection here. Now we'll have a look at the playbook, Ansible playbook in the source code. I'm going to go on the repos here. You see Ansible script here. This is my YAML file. And if I maximize it. So this is the Ansible playbook file written in the YAML format. So Ansible playbooks are Ansible's configuration, deployment and orchestration language. They can describe a policy you want your remote systems to enforce or a set of steps in a general ID process. These playbooks use YAML file format to define a model of a configuration or a process. Ansible includes a suite of modules for interacting with Azure Resource Manager, giving you the tools to easily create and orchestrate infrastructure on the Microsoft Azure cloud. So let's update the YAML file here. We will change the name of the app service from Linux to Windows as the following image. So if you would see, create app service on Windows. If I click on edit here, and we'll change the end IP as well to 000, and I click on commit, update here. I click on commit and make the changes on the master branch. Alright, made the changes here. Now we'll build the application using the Azure CI pipeline. I'm going to go under the pipelines. I click on pipelines. I'm going to click on this pipeline. And I click on edit to have a look at the build process. So this is how our build pipeline looks like. And the CI pipeline has tasked to compile the Java project. The Maven in the pipeline will restore the dependencies, build, test, and publish the build output into a var file, which can be deployed to a web application. So Maven is required to compile the Java project. Its job is to restore the dependencies and build and test the publish code. So in addition to the application build, we need to publish Ansible scripts so that it will be available in the CD pipeline. So we configured copy files task to copy ansible.yaml file to the Java web package, which is var. So contents are this. I'm copying files to this directory. And now if I'll click on Q to trigger the build, Azure pipelines agent is, I'm running on Ubuntu, doesn't make a difference. I click on run. So if you click on this to view the pipeline, agent job is running. It is for the management. It is starting the job. It is running the pipeline. Okay, so this is doing the Maven build now. After it will copy the file, it will publish the artifact. I'm going to pause and see here what it does. Okay, it is finalizing the job. Let's see what it is doing now. Okay, it is still on the process. Okay. After the job is finished, it says one published. I'm going to go to the artifacts. This is the var file and this is your YAML file that was deployed. Now we'll deploy the resources using Ansible and Azure CD pipeline. So now in this part, we will create Azure resources using Ansible as part of the deployment pipeline and deploy the application to the app service provisioned by Ansible. So I'm going to go to my pipelines and under releases, this is my continuous deployment pipeline. I'm going to edit it. You will see the pipeline here. It says that the pipeline stages Azure dev, and if you would see the task here, it is doing replace variables in Ansible script to deploy Azure resources, which we have done, right? And if you would see the replace token task here, replace variable thing, and under the here you will see the target files here. If you observe the web.yaml file, you will see that there are few values are propagated with the prefix like the web app name here. And using replace tokens, we will replace those values with the variables. So if you would click on the variables here, so the location MySQL here on a specified list of inventory nodes via command line interface. This task requires that the playbook files be located either on a private Linux agent. If you would say the remote machine, and here I can enter the name of my Ansible connection here. Agent machine is this, and Azure App Service. So my subscription, if you would see this task, it is my pay-as-you-go. I click on authorize. It will come up. I'll enter my username and password. Okay. And if you would go here and if you would scroll down under inventory, and if you would see the inventory file, and if you would change it to host list and enter the IP address here. Okay, give me a minute. Enter the IP address here of your host. Okay, come here. It is a web app. This is my subscription. My Azure subscription is this. And under the app settings, virtual deployment, app type, app service name, deploy virtual application package or folder, application settings, Spring data source. What setting is missing here? I'm not able to locate. And after defining all these tasks, and if you want to add one more task as well, you want to add a build task. This is specifically the build task here, right? And if you want to do the test, like you want to do the testing here, you can have it app center test. And if you want to add a package test here, deploy test here, marketplace test here, you can add it. That's how you define this file. I hope you understood how we can use the Ansible playbooks to provision and configure the environment. If you have any doubts, please mention them in the comment section. Till next video, have a good day.